Welcome to Beyond Pandemic Leadership Webinar. This leadership webinar is facilitated by Leadership Development Resources. LDR is an alliance of excellent and committed leaders in coaching and training ministry and business leaders. Adversity reveals who we really are in the midst of an age that is considered to be volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Adversity is not shaping nor defining us, but adversity reveals us. It reveals who we are. This age is characterized by volatility. Changes due to COVID-19 are taking place every day, unpredictable, dramatic, and fast. This age is characterized by uncertainty. No one can predict with confidence when the pandemic will end or when we will have a cure or vaccination. This age is characterized by complexity. The pandemic is affecting all aspects of life, including healthcare, business, the economy, and social life, and even our faith walk in complex ways. This age is characterized by ambiguity. There is no best practice that organizations can follow to manage the challenges caused by the pandemic. It is Leadership Development Resources' pleasure and intention to usher you into the new normal and face it with great confidence by developing peak performance even in the midst of our most challenging moment. On this leadership webinar, once again, our three accomplished speakers, distinct on their own rights, will facilitate us into the newness of the season, beyond the pandemic. Sunday, Taniegra will speak about making adversity pay, turning our adversity into great opportunities. As we enter a new era characterized by vulnerability, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, what will be our narrative? Will it be a narrative of being overcome, or will it be a narrative of overcoming? Adversity creates opportunities, and each moment must be leaned into and not avoided. If you are living a life of purpose, then adversity must definitely pay. Miguel Pabilonia Jr. leads us next in revisiting our dreams. The process of rising above our circumstances begins with our dreams. Dreams motivate us, they empower us. Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist Viktor Emil Frankl said, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how." We might have lost the means to live at this time, but with our dreams, which correspond to our why, we will have the will to live and make it through this crisis. Terry King once again will definitely keep us at the edge of our interest as he confronts you with the question, leading or responding? Are you too busy that you feel like you are constantly putting out fires? If you're often frustrated with a feeling of being trapped, you may be living in a reactionary mode. This session is the second in the series. To begin the process of change, we begin to examine 7 evidences of a reactionary lifestyle. Terry King is the Executive Director of Leadership Development Resources, and Terry loves to train leaders like you, like me. Terry's influence spans the globe with 4 to 5 years of cross-cultural leadership coaching and training rooted in spiritual dimension. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders and friends, once again, welcome to our leadership webinar entitled Beyond Pandemic. Challenging times demand creative adjustments. The impact of COVID-19 ensures a new normal. This webinar, the second in the 5-part series, will equip you to lead with peak performance. Let us hear from these men of substance and significance and be challenged to deliver peak performance in the new normal.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Beyond Pandemic Leadership Webinar, and we are so grateful and we are so joyful to have you with us today. It is the commitment of Leadership Development Resources to facilitate your growth amidst adversity and to lead you into delivering peak performance in the new normal. So once again, sit back, relax, and learn with us. I would like to start off today with a quote from Scott Barry Kaufman. He's a renowned author of the best-selling book, Wired to Create. He said, "Experiences of extreme adversity shows us our own strength. And in the wake of trying times, many people not only return to their baseline state of functioning, but learn to truly thrive." Now, this statement is actually amazingly telling us that we are not meant to survive, but we are meant to thrive amidst our adversity. And the truth of this statement is beautifully encapsulated in a story that I would like to relate with you. And I actually gave the story, the title, the Turtle and the Eagle. And I would like to start off this way. Once upon a time, there was a turtle who was crawling on the ground after plunging on the great sea for a long while. The eagle flew to him and said, "How unfortunate you are, doomed to crawl a bit and swim a bit all your life. Not like me, I am destined to fly." The turtle looked at the eagle and said, "You are right, eagle. I can't fly, but only I know what it means to fly." "And how can you know that?" The eagle smiled. "You don't have wings." Then the turtle, with sparks on his eyes, declared with great excitement, "Thoughts are my wings. Dreams are my heaven. When submerged underneath the sea, I close my eyes and I imaginatively feel like flying on the heaven." He further narrated to the eagle, who was listening with great amazement and intention, "When I am slowly crawling on the shore and looked up the heavens, in my heart, I know I am flying loftily. You see, in my free thoughts, I am learning to fly." The turtle looked up to the eagle and confidently declared, "With my soul, I am arising to the high heavens. So when my time comes and my life as a turtle comes to an end, I could ascend into the blue heaven, into the endless heaven and fly. To fly and not to think about anything, enjoying my freedom. And I won't be afraid to fly, because it won't be a new thing for me. For you, eagle, the wings were given as you were born, but not for me. But the heaven will make us equal. We will be flying together one day, eagle, under the clouds." And the turtle further on said, "But only I will be stronger and freer than you, because I have learned how to fly without having wings, simply crawling on the ground and diving underneath. These things are available for me. I am not afraid to lose my wings, because I know how to crawl and swim on the depth of the sea. And I am not afraid to gain wings, because I know how to fly." And then he confronted the eagle with a great truth. And he asked the eagle, "And what will you do, eagle, if you lose your wings?" Now understand that I would like to ask you, what's the story you tell about yourself in the midst of your adversity? We have two characters, the turtle and the eagle. The turtle did not have the opportunity just like the eagle had, but he had belief, he had imagination. And in his mind, in his thought, he was flying just like the eagle. You see, the story you tell yourself shall decide the direction that you will take. Will you be the winner, or will you be the victim? Are you going to be overcome by the adversity that you are facing, or you will overcome the adversity that you are facing with great confidence? Again, what's the story that you tell yourself about your adversity? Adversity creates opportunities, and each moment should be leaned into and not avoided. Again, I would like to welcome you to Beyond Leadership, Beyond Pandemic Leadership webinar, and I would like to welcome you to my small talk entitled Making Adversity Pay, Turning Your Adversity into Great Opportunities. And I would like to start off with Romans 12:21, as Apostle Paul exhorted the church in Rome. And he said and gave the instruction, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Now, this gives us an insinuation that amidst adversity, if we do not have the right frame of mind, if we do not have the right perspective, if we do not have the resolved commitment, then surely we can be a victim, or we can grow bitter amidst our adversity. But Apostle Paul said, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. So we were designed to overcome every adversity that comes our way. And therefore, if we are walking according to the will of God, and we are actually journeying with God, then we can definitely say this adversity must pay. And maybe you are going to ask, how can we be overcome by adversity? And I would like to give you 3 ways of being overcome by evil. Number 1 is to be gripped by fear. This happens if you choose to be a person who fills his mind and heart with what is happening around him, and over time becomes weighed down with the weight and evil in this world. He is gripped with fear, and gradually he loses his peace and his joy. What is that but to be overcome by evil in the midst of adversity? Do not be gripped by fear, but you have to come out more confidently amidst your adversity. Secondly, is to be pressured by circumstances and people. This happens if you choose to be a person who is simply doing an autopilot in life. What others feel and experience, he suddenly succumbs to them. He becomes more than an echo than a voice. He is overwhelmed and drowned by the reverberating clamor and angst of his generation. What is that but to be overcome by evil in the midst of adversity? The first way to be overcome by evil in the midst of your adversity is to be gripped by fear. Secondly, is to be pressured by people and circumstances. And thirdly, to be hardened by the age of adversity. Here is a person at work, endeavoring to be the best and have the best in life. The culture is brutal. It is a dog-eat-dog world. It is a devour or be devoured environment. Pride fills the air. Cynicism is rife. Understanding and compassion are rarely to be found. And over time, a growing cynicism creeps into his heart. What is that but to be overcome by evil in the midst of our adversity? So my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, it is our responsibility not to be overcome by our adversity, but to overcome this adversity with great confidence. And we can stand daringly and say, this adversity must pay. In 2 Corinthians 4:16, Apostle Paul declared, so we do not lose heart. Though our outer self is wasting away, our inner self is being renewed day by day. Do not lose heart. You know, we may be facing a lot of things. We may be deteriorating outwardly, but inside of us, there's that fighting spirit, and there is that cry to be a winner in this life. Because we were designed to be great. We were designed to be winners. In 2 Corinthians 4:17, he further on said, for this light momentary affliction is preparing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. Verse 18, he declared, we look not the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal. And so Apostle Paul here is actually daring us to have this opportunity of a lifetime. And today I would like to discuss to you the first opportunity in the midst of our adversity, and that is the opportunity for growth. Now, I believe that if we have the right perspective, if we have the right heart, and we have the right frame of mind, in the midst of our adversity, we will not only survive, but we will thrive. And we will grow. And we will grow stronger and better. So I would like to actually bring to your mind a quote by Anais Nin. And he said, and the day came when the risk to remain tied in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. Why do we need to change? We have to change if by staying who we are would be more painful than changing. Now understand that every season there will be adversity, there will be challenges, and these challenges are actually moving us to our next level of greatness. Just like Ananias Nin said, the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. In the midst of adversity, you can remain the same. But also in the midst of this adversity, you can stand strong and say, this adversity must pay, and I will go to the next level of my greatness. So the growth mindset is the cornerstone. So when we say that it is the cornerstone, that means that it is the habit of being a winner, that we use adversity to our own advantage. That is what will make adversity pay. It is the first step in getting everything right, in making adversity pay. So ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, I would like to dare to ask you that in the midst of your adversity, choose to grow. And I would like to give you the example of Bill Walsh. And Bill Walsh is actually one of the most renowned American football coaches. And he had a statement that I really loved, which I would like to share with you. He said, like water, many decent individuals will seek lower ground if left to their own inclination. In most cases, you are the one inspires and demands they go upward rather than to settle for the comfort of doing what comes easily. Given a choice, we will always do the easy task. We will always want to be safe. But adversity is given by God or allowed by God for us not to be comfortable. I would like to dare say that God is not interested in our comfort, but is interested for us to have the character that we ought to be if we're going to stand strong and say that this adversity must pay. In his book, The Score Takes Care of Itself, Bill Walsh actually gave 5 do's for getting back into the game. And I would like to share this with you as a springboard of this opportunity for growth. Number 1 is do expect defeat. It is a given when the stakes are high and the competition is working ferociously to beat you. If you're surprised when it happens, you're dreaming, and dreamers don't last long. In the reality of life, there will be failures, there will be pain. Now, but understand that if you have a right mindset, and if you have the faith that you are journeying with God and that you are at the center of God's will, now, understand that even failures can be described your failures can be described as delayed success. Now, why do I say that? Expect defeat. Now, in this life, in moments of adversity, definitely there will be times that we will fail. But understand that remaining in your failures is more of a choice. Okay? So you have a choice not to remain in your failures. Again, one mistake doesn't make you a mistake. One failure doesn't necessarily make you a failure. Number 2, do force yourself to stop looking backward. Now, if you will dare to say this adversity must pay, you cannot just stay and always go backward or look backward and say, what if this adversity had not happened at all? What if? You cannot actually live with regrets. Now, this is the invisible force that adversity can overwhelm us. It is a mental quicksand. We can no longer do anything about the past. What had been done had been done. So we can cry like a river, but we cannot undo what had been undone. So do force yourself to stop looking forward. Thirdly, do allow yourself appropriate recovery and grieving time. In moments of adversity, there will be great losses. And you need to count your losses as you are counting the strength in the midst of your losses. As you are counting your hope in the midst of adversity. So you've been knocked senseless. Give yourself a little time to recuperate. A key word here is little. Don't let it drag on. So do not allow yourself to be immersed in your past. Now grieve if you must. But when it's time for you to stand up, you have to stand up and start your life all over again. Number 4, do tell yourself, I am going to stand and fight again. Now, this is the fighting stance of a person who believes that he has a great future from God. Tell yourself, I am going to stand and fight again. With the knowledge that often when things are at their worst, you're closer than you can imagine to success. Do not give up. You know, at times when we're about to give up, and when we give up, we don't even see that we're just closer to the end point. So I pray and I hope that as we are undergoing this adversity in life, that you will always have that fighting stance, that I will stand up and fight again. And only by having that stance that you can talk to your adversity and say, you have to pay. Now, number 5, do begin planning for your next serious encounter. So the smallest steps, plans, move you forward on the road to recovery. Focus on the fix. Do begin planning for your next serious encounter. So when we do these 5 do's, according to Bill Walsh, for getting back into the game, somehow it will give us that sense of hope that whatever we are undergoing in this life, we will not be overcome by our adversity. So I would like to dare you to say before your adversity today that you have to pay. This adversity must pay. And the opportunity for growth is actually telling you that in the midst of your adversity, grow up. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, adversity will always be there. After this pandemic, that's why we can call it new normal, but after this, there will be another adversity, and another, and another, and another. If we will play victim, we're at the losing end. You will be hurt, you will be in pain, you will adjust. No, there's going to be a lot of things that you will encounter, but if you will come out bitter and defeated, you are at the losing end. My dear friends, adversity is here not to make us a loser, but adversity is here to make us a winner, and for us to believe that we were designed for greatness. So once again, in the midst of this adversity, stand firm and say, this adversity must pay. And in the midst of my adversity, I will grow up. So if you're going to give yourself a break, in the midst of everything that we're going through, would you please grow up? Let me pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much, oh God, for this time. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your power and mercy. And thank you so much, oh God, for the confidence that is beaming from within. Lord, that we will never be the victim of situations. We will never be at the losing end. But according to your strength, according to your might and grace, we will stand firm and declare, this adversity must pay. Out of humility, because you are our God, you are the greater one who lives in us. Father God, we thank you. And after this adversity, there will come another adversity and another and another. But we will not be afraid because you are with us. And since you are with us and we are walking according to your will, we will say, this adversity must pay. We thank you. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Thank you, everyone. And remember that this adversity must pay. Thank you, and you are a day closer to your destiny. God bless you, and enjoy the rest of the speakers that you're going to hear today. God bless you.
Great day once again to all of you. In the previous session, I presented in broad strokes the 4 steps on how we could make our way towards a new momentum. Now, beginning from this session, I would like to develop on what I presented the last time. The first of which is about revisiting our dreams. August 23, 2020. very, very recently. This article came out of several online news sites. It says the task force of COVID here in the Philippines seeks church help on alarming suicide rate. Now, this is the most recent sad news and very near our own home here in the Philippines. It is very alarming and way too serious to ignore. Now, we may ask, how can people bounce back from this? How can they move out of hopelessness to survival, and from survival to working on a new momentum? As I said in the last episode of this series, the process of rising above our circumstances begins with our dreams. Because dreams motivate us. They empower us. Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist Viktor Emil Frankl says, those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. We might have lost the means to live at this time, but with our dreams, which correspond to our why, we will have the will to live and make it through this crisis. Wait a minute. I feel the need to bring this up because one day I heard someone say this. Is it right to talk about dreams these days when the majority of people find it difficult even just to survive? Now, let me respond to this comment by saying this summary statement of what I am going to say further on. Listen carefully. Only those who still have a sense of purpose, those who have dreams, those who want to do something more in the future, like a mission, can survive this crisis. They could even thrive while at it. You see, preventing or discouraging people from talking about their dreams these days is like taking away from them the very thing that could help them pull themselves together and propel them to action. Remember the words of Helen Keller when she was asked one time, what would be worse than being born blind? To which she quickly replied, to have sight and no vision. You see, dreams like purpose is our why we are here. Purpose and dreams ignite our spirit to do something. They provide meaning and deep satisfaction in our lives. Dream fuel our efforts and give us the drive to continue no matter what the challenges. They give us a sense of mission. This is what Viktor Frankl learned from his experience of the Holocaust, as mentioned by Joel Barker in his teaching on the power of vision. Barker noted that in Frank's book, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl observed that among those who survived the Holocaust, there was a common thread. They had this trait that is essential to survival. What was it? All those who made it through the Holocaust had something significant yet to do in the future. It was their vision of the future that helped them overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. Now, Frankl tells this story of two men who were going to commit suicide. It is actually very common during those times. The men's lives were saved by their friends by reminding them of their future. They helped the one remember his child from whom he adored so much and was waiting for him in another country. For the other, who was a scientist, his friends reminded him of the series of scientific books that he still needed to finish. Both men were empowered to continue on and survived. Powerful. Dreams are powerful. So yes, if you want to work on a new momentum, I encourage you to revisit your dreams. But how? Now, here are a few practical tips. Number one, place a picture of your family in front of you. Weak move, someone might say. Well, ask those soldiers who are deployed on faraway battlefield and have been in constant danger from attacks, guns and bomb attacks, but more than that, the attacks of loneliness and depression. Isn't it the thought of their family that gives them the drive to make it through? It's the thought of his family too, why a father keeps his shoulder to the wheel, as it were. It's the dream of a better life for them that brings out from him both creativity and endurance. It's also for the family why a mother finds multitasking not just bearable, but fun. To add to that, as far as I know, it's almost every student's dream to help their family. It's one of the reasons why they want to do good at school. It's also true that young adult who had to choose between doing university or landing a job so she could help her family. Not many of those I know choose university if they are unable to do both. They choose to help their family. This is how powerful a motivator dreams for one's family are. So again, place a picture of your family in front of you and think of your dreams for them. This is the second tip. Look back at your written or illustrated goals. John Maxwell noted in one of his books a research showing approximately 95% of all of us have never written out our goals in life. But of the 5 who have written theirs, 95% of them have achieved their goals. He kept on saying that in the 1950s, the graduating class of Yale University was surveyed, and one of the questions asked was this: do you have written goals? Only 3% of the class responded yes. 20 years later, another survey of those same class members was taken. The 3% who had said they had written goals were out earning the other 97% of the class combined. That's how powerful written goals are. Maybe many of you, just like me, would recall the personal mission statement endorsed by Stephen Covey. This mission statement talks about the purpose one sees for his life. It includes not just his aims for himself, but also those that would make an impact in the community. And we were, of course, encouraged to write this PMS, or personal mission statement. I remember reading one purpose statement or mission statement that goes this way: my purpose in life is to support individuals with physical challenges to develop their independence. I like that. When my wife and I sat down together and planned for the opening of our school 20 years ago, helping the community was foremost in our mind. We wanted to give the children an opportunity for good education as well as employment for teachers, which was much needed in the community back then when there were not much opportunity to earn a living. 20 years of ups and downs, but seeing the result now, just how we envisioned it 20 years back, we could say that our joy today is indescribable. This is now what actually fuels us to do more. We are actually now working on another project for the benefit of another community. If you've made a dream, vision, or goals board, as they call them, maybe you've made yours, done yours a few years back, you might want to go back to it because I am sure that you will find encouragement. Maybe one, by having realized that maybe one or two have now been fulfilled, or two, if all are still unfinished, they might give you an impetus towards a renewed vision, resilience now, and creativity beyond this pandemic. You may also want to recalibrate your dreams if they don't motivate you now. If they are failing to motivate you now, even as maybe as you read them, it's time to recalibrate them. Let's have a look at this passion scale by John Maxwell and see how our dreams are fueling our passion. Begin reading from the bottom and rate yourself as we go along or as you go along. So have a look at this and rate yourself. I'm going to give you a few seconds to do it. Right. So how is your vision or dream fueling your passion? Let's go to my third tip on how to revisit our dreams. Reflect on your God-given shape. Reflect on your God-given shape. God knows the very reason why He created us, and for that matter, He is the ultimate one who could truly say at the end of things for us, well done, well done. This point is most important because people usually equate success with wealth. Well, I believe that this pandemic has made a very good point against this mindset. It's only God who could truly define success because it is He who exactly knows the purpose for which we were created. The Bible in Mark chapter 8 makes a very good case against thinking of success mainly in terms of amassing material wealth. It says, "What good would it do to get everything you want and lose you, the real you? What could you ever trade for your soul?" You see, there are things way higher in value than what this world could give. Never, ever measure your own life nor somebody else's life by how much fun, fame, and fortune they have right now. I believe with Pastor Rick Warren that God shaped us, meaning He gave us unique spiritual gifts, heart, abilities, personality, and experiences that are unique for us. They make up who we are so we can live our purpose, make an impact in the world, or maybe even just in our community, and find fulfillment in life. So, ask the Lord while you reflect on your shape. What is your purpose for me? What is your goal in my life? Why, even in this pandemic, I keep on living. And I want to tell you this. Make this unique and God-given meaning and purpose for your life the basis for your dreams. It will surely help you find your new drive. You see, life and other included gifts are given by God for us to invest and grow them. If you want proof, read again the parable of the talents, and you will see that however tiny or enormous your talent is, one thing is asked of you: grow it. Grow what God has given you. So let me ask you, what do you have with you? What do you have together with your life? What do you have in your hands? Just as God asked Moses, what do you have in your hands? Align your dreams with how God made and gifted you. Let me conclude with these words. A man of dream and purpose will always be at an advantage, time of crisis or not. Because as Maxwell writes, purpose will cause us to pray more than the ordinary man, unite as people more than the ordinary man, risk more than the ordinary man, plan more than the ordinary man, observe more than the ordinary man, sacrifice more than the ordinary man, expect more than the ordinary man. Friends, brothers, business people, church people, whoever you are, I encourage you to revisit your dreams, and they will motivate you to start a new momentum. Thank you once again for this opportunity. I'm Miguel Pabilonia. Blessings.
Thank you for joining us today. This has been a great day, or evening, or morning, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you so much to Miguel and to Sunday for your teaching. Excellent, practical, certainly timely for the days in which we are living. I've never been in a situation like this in my life. COVID-19 has shut down the world. So many people have died, so much pain and difficulty. The resulting economic collapse, and again, the difficulties that's presenting to people, real people being impacted, losing their jobs, and now these bombings in the Philippines. I mean, these are stressful times, and I'm so thankful we're doing this teaching right now. We actually began planning for this back in November last year, and here we are today, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to work with Sunday Miguel. I hope that what we're sharing is helpful to you. In fact, I've got a perfect illustration of how we apply what we've been talking about. I had the opportunity to speak with Justino Patino last week. Justino won our drawing for a free counseling session. Well, someone from the top 30 registrants was randomly selected. It was Justino. And here's his testimony of how he has been responding, leading, dealing with the situations around him right now. So repeat for me one more time. You are having Bible studies there at the Rehabilitation Center.
Yeah.
Why were you able to go into? Did they ask you to come in?
Yes, sir. The management asked me to share the gospel in our resident, because since the COVID-19 start, before we have a priest Roman Catholic priests. They have a mass every Sunday, but due to the COVID-19, they don't allow to go inside because of the COVID-19. So my boss heard that I shared the gospel, so they decided and called me to say, June, please share gospel in our resident. So they changed their life because if they heard a gospel from Jesus Christ, maybe they can change. So it's a big opportunity for me, and I grab it and I decided, yes, ma'am. Every Sunday I go to Bible study 2 p.m. Then gathered all the residents, and some of them accept Jesus Christ because I teach. I preach them a topical message. So I started to introduce Jesus Christ when during Bible study. So the others returned to their family, then started to look other churches because they know Jesus Christ. They don't. They never. They go to their family and then share the gospel to their family, and continue to go to the church.
So you're really like a pastor for the rehabilitation center.
Yeah, they call
The
me
adversity,
pastor.
the COVID situation is very hard. It's very difficult, lockdowns and
Yes.
everything. But
Yes, sir.
the adversity has become your opportunity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Justina. That was excellent. And again, that's real life. And I wonder how many opportunities we're missing because we're not taking advantage of them. In our last time together, one of our Zoom sessions, I found myself saying, take advantage of opportunities. Don't let obstacles take advantage of you. Don't let the situation become an obstacle. And Justina, you've done exactly that. Thank you for that testimony. Perfect. I hope that that'll be inspiring to you to keep your eyes open. What is it that God's putting before you right now? Let's review our time together last time. We talked about three things: run your race, run your pace, run with grace. Number one, run your pace speaks of doing what you are prepared to do. What is it that God's placed in your hands? What gifts? What talents? What skills? What experiences? Even the painful experiences of your life are working to make you who you are for your best moments for the kingdom of God. Number two, run your pace. Comparison is the competition that you never win. Remember that. If we compare ourselves to others, if we try to run someone else's pace, their race, their pace, you're never going to win, and you'll wear yourself out in the process. Number three, run with grace. And in particular, the grace of God, that indwelling presence of God that makes such a difference in our lives. Jesus is the vine, we are the branches. And when we abide in him, we will bear much fruit. And that's really our purpose for this whole discussion. Remember the hamster, we talked about the hamster last time? The hamster is the little guy who runs 6 miles in one night. Can you imagine? 6 miles. But of course, he's running in circles. He never gets anywhere. I wonder if that's what your life feels like. My title for tonight is Focused or Frenzied. This is building on that whole theme that we're using for this series. Are we leading or reacting? And we're looking at particularly some evidences of a reactionary lifestyle tonight, and actually the next time together, next webinar. Then we'll be looking at some of the solutions. How do we fix this? Our theme comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24. Do you not know that in a race, runners run, but only one receives the prize? So run that you may obtain it. Every athlete exercises self-control in all things. They do it to receive a perishable wreath, but we an imperishable. So I do not run aimlessly. I do not run boxing the air. Well, what are you doing with your life? How is it with you? Are you running with purpose, or are you running aimlessly? Well, how do we know? Well, I'm going to talk about 4 evidences of a reactionary lifestyle today, tonight, wherever you are. And I ask you to make this person measure your life by these things. The first one is this. You know you're living a reactionary lifestyle when you're busy, very busy, and proud of it. And proud of it is really kind of the key thought there. Now we're all, those of us who are leaders at least, are usually type A type personalities. We look for things to do. We find things to do. We're men, women of action. The challenge is, what kind of action? Are we so busy that we're not accomplishing anything? There's a certain barrenness that comes with busyness. And I meet leaders all the time who say to me, I ask them, how are you doing? Their first reaction is, oh, I'm so busy. It becomes like a badge. I must be successful. I must be important. I must be doing a good job because I'm so busy. Well, not really, because maybe you're that hamster running in circles. The key is obedience. Are we obeying what God's given us to do? Are we accomplishing our purpose? Do we know what we're good for? Number 2, you know you're reacting when you're constantly putting out fires. Now by fires, I mean emergencies. Is your life led by purpose, by direction, or are you led by emergencies? I call it firehouse scheduling. The fireman doesn't have really any choice. When the alarm rings, they don't know what they're going through, whether it's a big fire, a small fire, whether their lives are in danger or not. The alarm rings, they jump in the truck, off they go. And of course, many times it's not an emergency, but that's their job, to be prepared at all times, to run and go. And I wonder if that's kind of what happens in your life. Do other people, in other words, are other people's fires, their emergencies becoming your lifestyle? Are we so busy that we really don't know where we're going? We're running in circles once again. Dwight D. Eisenhower was known to have said, what is important is seldom urgent. What is urgent is seldom important. Now that's good. We need to separate the urgent from the important. What is urgent feels important at the moment, but often it's really not so important at all. I've often told myself the lie, I hope you don't do this. If I just put out these 3 fires, I wake up in the morning and I see the list and there's a couple things that just are screaming at me. If I just put out these 3 fires, then I'll be able to get to what I need to do today with the important stuff. Of course, the problem is 3 becomes 4, 4 becomes 5. I never get back to the important stuff. I'm reacting all through the day. I wonder if sometimes we're given to this. We yield to this temptation because there's actually a sense of importance that comes with putting out fires. Other people's emergencies give me a reason for living. But is it the right reason? And of course the problem is, when you respond to emergencies that aren't really emergencies, you feed them in the process rather than fix them. I think by nature we're fixers and we think we can fix everything. But listen, leaders, particularly those, moms, dads, pastors, business leaders, whatever arena you're living, you really can't fix everything. You need to know what you're good for fixing and fix that. Number 3, you know you're living in a reactionary lifestyle. You're reacting when your energy is drained and when you cannot see the way forward. In fact, thinking even about the future is almost over. The future, I got to survive today. I think we need to do a better job of choosing our battles. You can't die on every hill. In fact, you can only really die on one hill. So maybe you need to choose which hill that's going to be. There are some battles we fight, even though we know we're going to lose, because they're the right battles. They're battles of principle. They're battles of conviction. They're battles of our heart for God. But there are many battles we fight that are unnecessary. They're just not necessary at all. And you need to choose. You need to know what. The reality is, conflict always consumes life. Conflict just takes stuff out of you that could be used for practical purposes, for useful purposes. Jesus says in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly of heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Take my yoke, for my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." Now, I find that a bit contradictory. First, Jesus is saying, I know you're worn out, you're overwhelmed. Take a rest. Then he says, now, here's a yoke. That's an implement of work. If I'm going to rest, if I'm going to go on a holiday, I want to go to the beach somewhere, to the mountain, and do as little as possible, nothing at all if possible. Maybe read a great book. No, he's not talking about a holiday. He's talking about a lifestyle. And that lifestyle is being yoked to him. A yoke binds us, is custom made for our gifts, our calling, our purpose, what we were made for. Walking with him, not working for him, but working with him. We'll talk about that more in a couple of weeks, but you can be sure if you're feeling drained and worn out, you're probably living a reactionary lifestyle. You're not leading yourself, you're not leading others, they're leading you. So let's review quickly. Number 1, You know you're reacting when you're so busy, and most important, proud of it. I'm busy. I must be important. Number 2, you know you're reacting when you're constantly putting out fires. Emergencies that really aren't emergencies are consuming your life, your schedule. Number 3, you feel drained, empty. No way forward, no way to look forward. But number 4, then, you know you're living in a reactionary mode if you're too busy to pray and too busy to spend time with God. Now, I know how it is to get caught in this trap as well. I love this picture of the garden when Adam and Eve met with God in the cool of the day. It's been argued, was that the morning or was that the evening? Of course, both morning and evening are the cool of the day. I kind of guess it was both, beginning and ending time with God. Isaiah 40 verse 31 says, "They who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." I remember hearing a pastor say one time, and this is true for business, for family, for any walk of life. Got up in the morning, he looked at his schedule, and man, there are just so many things to get. Wow, I'll never get it all accomplished today. And he said, he normally would pray for an hour to spend time studying, waiting on God. I got so much to do today, I better take 2 hours. He found the secret. When we spend time with God, we actually get more accomplished. I love the sense of humor that the Lord has. I don't know if you understand that God does laugh. And he can be very angry with sin, but he loves to smile when he's watching his children. And I was in a situation several years ago where I was very stressed. I had taken too much upon myself. I was living a reactionary lifestyle. And I found myself sighing and just kind of proud of myself, I guess, saying, boy, I wish there were more days in the week. And I heard this silence, as it were, from the Lord. I felt like the Lord wanted to say something. I got quiet. And it's like I heard him chuckle and say, Terry, I sure wish I had consulted you before I created the universe. In other words, I guess I could have given you more days because you're so important. No, wait a minute now. I repented immediately. God's given us exactly the number of days we need. There's 24 hours, there's 60 seconds. Exactly. I have plenty of time to do everything God has called me to do. So if you're too busy to pray, you're too busy. Reviewing one more time. Number 1, proud of being busy. Number 2, constantly putting out fires. Number 3, your energy is drained. You're worn out. You can't think forward. Number 4, too busy to pray. I'm going to pause just for a moment before I wrap up our time together tonight, and give a couple of announcements. I hope that you're going to join us for our Zoom debrief right after this session finishes today. The first 100 people who sign on will be welcome in that. We had a great time last time. Both sessions were great. And you should have received an email. If you registered, you have to register to get the invite. If you registered, then you should have received an email by now with the invite. If you haven't registered, do it right this moment. Go to our website, www.ldronline.org. There's flashing on the screen. Go to the resource page, go to the webinar page, sign up. We'll try to get that email out to you immediately. It was great. Now, I hope you will join us as we talk about how to apply the things that Sunday and Miguel and I have been talking about tonight. I want to announce our award for tonight. We used the computer to randomly select a number, and our winner of our free coaching session this time is Nina Salonga from the Philippines. So Nina, I'll be getting in touch with you. Looking forward to meeting with you, and thank you for registering. Thank you everyone for registering. That's your way of keeping in touch with us and us keeping in touch with you. I want to remind you that there are a number of leadership tools available for you on our website. Leadership Resources is here to equip you and to make these tools available to you, most of them without charge. LDR Online, there's all the details. Look in particular on that resource page for the Personal Leadership course, Principles of Personal Leadership. There are videos there. There's a manual you can download for free. If you'd like to actually get involved in the directed study, there's a way to apply for that program, and I hope you'll look at that all on the website. One more reminder, this is the second of 5 webinars. The next one will be Saturday, October the 3rd. That's Manila time. That'll be Friday the 2nd, depending where you are around the world. Put it on your calendar. Register right now. Plan to join us. Let me close one more time with this key verse from 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 26. I do not run aimlessly. I do not box as one beating the air. I hope that will be your testimony. I hope the tools we're giving you, the things we're talking about, will be able to equipping you and preparing you to do exactly that, to run with direction and purpose in your life. Thank you for joining us today. God bless you.
Wow, those are inspiring words of wisdom and substance from our 3 seasoned speakers, and I'm sure you were challenged, just like I was. I was confronted as well with a lot of questions bubbling from within my heart and within my mind, and it's both important. I'm very sure that you have a lot of questions or things that you would like to share and still wanting to learn in-depth insights from our webinar speakers. They would actually be very, very delighted to engage with you through a meaningful discussion through a Zoom conference. Let's turn to that and process our learning. God bless you, and we will see you again next month, October 4, 2020. Again, that's October 4, 2020, for the 3rd part of this leadership webinar series. Thank you for tuning in. This is Pastor Jonathan Taniegra, your host for today. God's blessings, and take care.